So this is a video I always knew I eventually would have to make, but I never wanted to. Today the world found out that the great Stan Lee has passed away. Everyone all over the world is expressing their sadness, their grief, but most of all, how he inspired each of them. So this is just my little contribution to that into the internet universe. My introduction to Stan Lee was when I saw the first Spider-Man movie starring Tobey Maguire in 2002. I was 15 years old, and at the time I can promise you all it was not cool to like comic book movies. Not a whole lot of money was thrown at them, but Spider-Man had a huge fan base and everyone was anticipating what this movie was going to look like, how it was going to do, and it in a lot of ways set precedent as to what we see today happening in a lot of these cinematic universes. I then eventually learned that he always made cameos in all the films which had his characters in it. And that was my introduction to Stan Lee. A very brief clip of an old man running away from chaos and the entire theater booming with laughter and joy. So for the first time ever, we saw Peter Parker live in the flesh on screen. We saw his devastating loss of Uncle Ben and the infamous line, "With great power comes great responsibility." And we all sought out that infamous Stan Lee cameo that he was known for in all of the movies that had his characters. And after that, we left the Whitestone Theater, which is no longer there. And that Monday, Spider-Man was all that everyone could talk about. But the significance of that movie was when it came out. It was released in 2002. And earlier in 2001, a teaser trailer was released with Spider-Man making a web between the Twin Towers. And that trailer was eventually pulled, obviously, after the events of 9/11. Although it was a great movie, I was not prepared for the impact it would have on my life. My father was a first responder in 9/11, and at the time that the movie came out, I was struggling with what I know now was PTSD. I didn't know how to cope with things. I didn't know how to cope with what was happening around me or what had just happened in my own city. And in a lot of ways, I felt like Peter Parker, not knowing how to cope with such a devastating loss. Thankfully, my dad came home, but the scars of anxiety and fear and trauma never leave. One day, after school, I decided to go to the school library on the 3rd floor, which was often, just to clear my head, to not have to ride a crowded bus home. And I went to this little nook in there. And I saw a bunch of frames along the wall of what was called Distinguished Alumni of DeWitt Clinton High School. And at that moment I froze, because right then and there I saw Stan Lee, creator of Marvel Comics. And it was at that moment that I finally cried. I allowed myself to feel everything. I don't know why that small little detail helped me heal. Maybe because I felt him and I were one and the same. It was as if he created Peter Parker for kids like me, who didn't know how to deal with something awful happening, but had to move forward. Years went on, and obviously he was known to tour the convention circuit, and the lines to meet him were always full. And even though it would have been a phenomenal honor to meet him, I always felt that sharing an alma mater with him was enough. That my connection to him superseded anything. I guess in a way I hope that now, wherever he is, that he is aware of what he meant to a lot of people, including the awkward, anxious kids like me. So I don't want to be sad. He obviously led a full life of 95 years of incredible success. So I just want to share my deepest gratitude from one Bronx kid to another. I'm sure that he has the greatest view of all the tributes going on, and I'm sure it's touching him wherever he is. So, old friend, wherever you are, thank you, thank you, thank you. And instead of tears, which I've already shed, I'm just going to let out one big Excelsior in your honor. Safe travels. My name is Luz A. Rivera, DeWitt-Clinton High School class of 2004, and I am beyond honored to share that with Stan Lee. Thanks for watching.
I am really excited. I haven't sung my Clinton marching song, or I could even call it my Clinton battle song, in a long time. And I'm going to do it now, and I'm going to send it to DeWitt-Clinton so that all those students can enjoy it and realize that an alumnus, many, many decades later, still loves that song and is inspired by it. Here we go. DeWitt-Clinton, boom! Clinton, oh Clinton, ever to thee, fairest of high schools, give her 3 times 3, oh fellows, long may we cherish thee, faithful will be, Clinton, oh Clinton, for you and me. Oh boy, I don't think, eat your heart out, Frank Sinatra or anybody else. Nobody could have done it that well. You must be so happy to have a pro like me sing that song. And I also want to say I'm so excited about this, I may try to tweet this or Twitter this or whatever you call it. I want the world to know the magnificence and the power of the DeWitt-Clinton marching song. Excelsior!